Good evening, this is Sarah Edge with my week 6 reflections for the chapter 19 and chapter 20 of the Director's Vision by Catrona. Chapter 19 was about the rhythm, tempo, and pacing of the play, and chapter 20 was kind of a troubleshooting guide for directors when working with actors. I thought both chapters were very helpful. It's because I'm totally brand new to theater or teaching theater, so there's a lot of brand new information for me that I can apply right now. I got my playcast, and we're starting our after-school rehearsals right after Thanksgiving. So I didn't know what the difference between rhythm, tempo, and pacing were for plays until I read the chapter. But it makes a lot of sense that a director should be mindful of those things. I talked about in one of my posts earlier this week, one of the written ones, that I wasn't aware that was something that needed to be considered when my drama club did a play last winter, and I was just really focused on everybody slowing down and enunciating, and it ended up like everything was everybody spoke at the exact same pace, and it probably sounded like just a monotonous reading circle for an elementary school and kind of draggy. So I've been thinking a lot about how picking up the tempo can make the play seem more chaotic when it needs to, like in the play that we're doing. Zeus becomes really angry when he realizes that Prometheus has escaped and the humans still have fire, and he wants to exact his revenge. So he is in an angry whirlwind and has the other gods come together, and they frantically create Pandora to be this machine of destruction for the human race. So I think the tempo should pick up as that's going on. And then thinking back to when the chapter on diction about not having pauses in between the different actors' lines, I think that'll like really keep the pace going when we're doing that part, and then it'll add to the chaos and the momentum of, okay, here's this creature that they're building. It's kind of like a Frankenstein moment, I suppose. And then also when Pandora is having her crisis, where she knows she's not supposed to open the box, but she's curious and she's wrestling with herself. The pace should pick up, the tempo should start to accelerate as she's becoming more and more conflicted, and then when she opens it and utter chaos happens, that it needs to be a really fast tempo that is overwhelming and overstimulating, and because it overstimulates Pandora to the point where she passes out. So just thinking about tempo and pacing with that, and then after she swoons, the tempo will be nice and it'll be slow. Like it's very stark contrast. And then when she's transforming from a wounded little kid into an empowered woman, at first probably a slower tempo to have, when hope is reassuring her and getting her grounded. And then as she starts to become stronger, picking up the pace again, and then there's a huge storm. I really liked the analogy of how everything has a rhythm, but like this ocean waves have a rhythm that's different from a storm, or the analogy of how it can relate to driving in a car. I know when I go on long road trips and I have to go the exact same speed limit for hours and hours and hours. I love driving, but if you do it for hours, it gets really boring and I start to get tired and fall asleep, and I don't want my audience to do that, so you gotta have variety. So I thought that was a really helpful chapter, because I could be more mindful about that. And I was thinking about my play as I was reading them, like, okay, well, this might be a good place to do this thing, and this might be a good place to do this thing, and I'll have to make some notes and come up with a plan with that, but I wouldn't have thought of that without the book. So that was great. And then chapter 20 was about problem solving. I know how to problem solve like a pro in art because that's my thing, but theater I'm not, so I thought that was really helpful. There are probably a lot of people in the class who have already dealt with a lot of these problems and know how to troubleshoot them with a lot of expertise. But at least this gives me a starting point, and the more I do it, and the more expertise and differentiation I'll be able to do. But I really liked, I love this chapter. I could see a lot of the things that are going on with my students right now, how I can help them by using the things that were in here already. I mean, the number one most important thing that I think they mentioned in this chapter was like the director really sets the tone, and they really set the vibe. Like, if you're not into it, the kids aren't going to be into it. Just like, teaching in a classroom, if you act like your content is boring, then the kids are going to feel the same way. So just remember to go in there with a positive attitude and be excited about it and be respectful and be willing to make changes, be willing to model positive growth mindset with the play. I like the section on setting goals. They talked about that earlier in the book, and I started doing that where you set a goal for practice at the beginning, and then you set another goal at the end, and then that gives them something to work on and be ready for the next time. I started doing that in my class, and it seems to, like, it's really helps. Like, the kids know what they're supposed to do. There isn't any sort of question about what exactly we're working on, and they've been putting in the work, and I've told them what my goals are too, and I think that helps. Some of the other troubleshooting things that I think I can use right away are, there was a section about long speeches lacking clarity and meaning, and I think that section applies to my actor who is playing Pandora. It sounds kind of flat when she's acting. So guiding her through the different thought units, separating everything out, and guiding her through the emotional dynamics, I think will be helpful. And then asking questions, like they were saying earlier in one of the other troubleshooting sections, to ask, like, get the actors to get into their character shoes when you're asking them how they would act in a certain instance. So instead of, instead of elevating the actor into the character, you have to be careful not to have the character come down to the actor's personal level. You need to have the actor elevate themselves into the character. So asking questions to help them become that character before asking them how they would interpret certain things that are in the script or outside of the script, so they can get a deeper understanding, will be more helpful. Because I've been asking the kids during callbacks things like, what would you do if you were in this situation? Act that out. And maybe that's appropriate for callbacks because we haven't done any character analysis yet. I don't really know. But moving forward when we're doing the production, to try to get them more in the mindset of their character, so they can apply their thought processes and actions into things like the monologues, I think will be really helpful. I've already talked a lot. But yeah, I really, really, really love the troubleshooting section, and plan on using it when we get back to school. This book has been so incredibly helpful, and I've already noticed it making a huge difference when I'm applying the things that I read in the book to my class. So this has been a really worthwhile class so far. I'm working on my production book, getting everything ready to go. The cast is excited, and yeah, I can't wait to see what we put together. All right, have a good night. Happy Thanksgiving.